I would like to thank Coca 2005 for sending me this story coming out of Nebraska. And as you can see by the title, First for Fentanyl, you're probably wondering where are we going with this? Well, when I saw this article on the title, I wasn't too sure either until I started to read a little bit more. And this is a pretty interesting discovery here. So we all know how powerful the drug fentanyl is. No need to go into details because it's been explained by myself and Lisa Cabrera on quite a few occasions. But this one is a very interesting topic because in this picture you see a man by the name of Kerry Dean Moore. He's a 60-year-old inmate who went to jail because he was involved with the killing of two Omaha, Nebraska cab drivers back in 1980. And the reason why I say first for fentanyl is because a judge has ordered that the lethal injection to kill Kerry Dean Moore contain fentanyl in the syringe. They are going to inject fentanyl in his body enough to kill this guy as a form of lethal injection. And Kerry Dean Moore has made history because he is the very first person to have this happen anywhere. Let's just say for some shot in the dark this works. Do you know how many people they're going to use this on who are on death row? I'm going to go ahead and just read this article and so we can get a little bit more perspective about what we're dealing with here. A federal judge rejected a drugs company request Friday to block Nebraska from using its products in an execution next week, clearing the way for the state to carry out its first lethal injection in the country's first execution using the powerful opioid fentanyl. So he's getting two historical occasions. He's the first to be executed in the state of Nebraska, and he's the first to have the opioid fentanyl injected into his body as one of the injections. Now, we all know when it comes to lethal injections, they don't just get them with one injection. They put multiple ones in there. I think one of them is like a depressant where it'll put them in a state where they don't really feel any pain. So it's almost like they're dead, but they're not dead. It's like a tranquilizer, so to speak. And then that's when they go forward with the more powerful drugs that eventually will knock them out for good. The drug company quickly moved to appeal the judge's order, leaving uncertain whether the execution will take place as planned. The ruling came in a case centering on Nebraska's plans to execute Kerry Dean Moore, a 60-year-old inmate sentenced to death in 1980 for killing two Omaha cab drivers. But the case may also reverberate beyond Nebraska, coming at a time when states increasingly unable to obtain the drugs needed to carry out lethal injections are encountering a new wave of opposition from the companies that make and distribute these products. The legal battle over Moore's execution took shape amid Nebraska's effort to carry out an execution that will be its first in 21 years. During that time, execution and death sentences have both declined nationwide. Nebraska lawmakers abolished the practice entirely in 2015, overriding a veto from Governor Pete Ricketts, who only for voters to reverse that action a year later when it was put on the statewide ballot, an effort pushed by a group given considerable financial backing from Ricketts and his family. Financial backing. That's how you know these politicians are bought and paid for, and they only work for the people that will give them money. That's why I call them politicians. State officials are planning to execute Moore, who has lived more than half his life under sentence of death, on Tuesday in Lincoln, the state capital. Relatives of the victims in his case, Ruel Van Ness and Maynard Helgeland, both killed in 1979, have said they are ready to be done with decades of waiting. Moore has said he does not want to stop his execution or have anyone else stop it for him, though he also belittled state officials who have been unable to execute him for decades as either lazy or incompetent to do their jobs or both. Whether Moore will be executed as planned was thrown into question this week when the drug company Fresenius Kabi filed the federal lawsuit accusing Nebraska of improperly and possibly illegally obtaining its products to use in its execution. In its lawsuit, the company had said it restricts the use of certain drugs to try to keep them from being used in lethal injections, a practice that other firms have also in place. And I'm not going to really read the rest of them. The rest of them goes into the type of drugs that they're going to be using, sort of like what I was saying before. It's like a cocktail of injections that they put in the body in order to relax them, and then they will go in for the kill. literally. But I thought this was very interesting. I would really like to know what y'all think about this, because they start with one, they're going to carry on they're going to keep on carrying them. So this man is going to pretty much die being high, so to speak. But they're going to put enough in him to kill him. Not enough just to get an overdose, but enough to kill him. Because one of them, I think, does slow down the heart. And that's when it's like, okay, now let's go in for the fentanyl. Then we got him. Y'all let me know what you think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. The links to the PayPal and Patreon are down below. I will talk to you in the next one.